I so I generally do not know like how do I use this kit, graphite pencils, for my birthday.
All right, so just open the kit and you'll see that there are pencils with different numbers on them towards the end.
All the A stickers.
Yeah, so just look for you don't need those pencils actually. Do you have just a regular pencil?
Yeah, I do, but then that one's outside.
Sorry, you don't have it with you right now?
No, not right now.
All right, just use a 2B pencil for now.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, good. Okay, so I'm going to keep you muted. That way our voices don't overlap. Okay, so let's start with the hands and feet. Now I know that this is a topic that is that's often not sorry. Yeah, so hands and feet is a problem. It's almost like because it's the tail end of the body, nobody wants to address it. So everyone has these really awkward shaped hands and feet when they're drawing human figures, or everything is in pockets or behind the back or something like that, hidden. And that's actually a good place to begin because hands and feet have far too much happening when you are drawing a full figure. You should not really have to focus on how to draw all the digits and create that whole the emotion that comes with the hand. A lot of times you will see that hand gestures are very beautifully drawn in anime or in cartoons because a lot of action takes place in those cartoons, especially animated movies and things like that. Because these they rely a lot on the physicality of that cartoon. So, say for example, you have a hand that is going to make an impact on something, you would have a certain way in which the hand goes and makes the impact and then it bounces back. So there's like five different things that happen to the hand. And if we are going to draw figures which are in motion, that is going to translate into their hands and feet also. So, at the very least, when somebody is walking, nobody walks like this. We're not like robots walking like that. So, how is our natural, relaxed hand motion? If you're holding a bag versus holding a cane versus holding a stick versus holding an umbrella, it's not just the same blocky fist. There are few different things that happen to our hands. So, all of these gestures add to the final figure, to when the figure is looking relaxed, when it's looking agitated, all of that. So we want to come to a point where, with the briefest of strokes, you are able to convey this. Because we are not really doing a full figure, realistic or real looking a portrait where the hands are important, but sometimes you have portraits where a hand is close to the face or you will have a hand under the chin. So that hand needs to look good. You should not then have sticks over there. So we'll start off with
Yeah.
just making basic. Sorry, Shivansh, you had a question?
Yeah, I had a question. I have made a few drawings before,
Mm-hmm.
which include hands.
Mm-hmm.
This one.
Okay, let's see what you've made. Okay, that's very nice. Very well done.
Thank you.
Do you have any more?
Then I made like creatures,
Uh-huh. It's very good. Lovely. Would you like
and
to
then the
share all
last
these?
one, which like includes a hand. So like
Mhm.
it's like a cell phone. He's holding this. So
Can you, Shivansh, 1 minute. Let me stop you there. Oh, very nice. Could you share these on the group, on our group, so that everybody can see these? And then later on, after class, then you can share some more also. Is that okay?
yeah, Yeah.
These are very well
So
done.
should I send it now?
You can share it now or you can share it towards the end of the class also. That way, then I can finish the exercises, and then while everyone is doing their exercises, I can also highlight your pictures on the screen so that everyone can have a closer look at them. Okay, that'll be very good because they're very well done.
Thank you.
All right, so we're going to start with making very simple forms, literally going to basic shapes like a skeletal form of hands and later of the feet. And then we are going to flesh that out, and then we are going to draw gestures with that. And then finally, draw from the pictures that I have sent. So I have figured out one mechanical way of drawing a hand, which let's see if it works. So I'm going to put this to the test, show you how how I draw it, and then you can critique the technique. I enjoy that because then I can refine it for the future. So, okay, all of us have hands. So if we look at how our hands work, can you visualize a circle in your palm? Okay, so let's draw a small circle for our palm. And then in that circle, if we visualize a center line, cutting that circle in half, vertically and horizontally, this is what you can get. This is a horizontal line, very objectively drawn. I'm not drawing it higher or lower depending upon my palm. And then I'm drawing a line vertically dividing it like this. Okay, so now from here, from this point at the base of the circle, if we draw a line going towards, say, 11 o'clock, 1 o'clock, and 2 o'clock. But it is not from the center of the circle, it is from the base of the circle. So we get radiating fingers. And then we can flesh them out. Again, looking at our hands, if we look at our hand and we try to flesh them out, all we need to do is establish the height of the middle finger, which often will be the height of the circle we see, which is not the end of the palm. It will be somewhere here, at least in my case. So this is as tall as I will go with my middle finger. And then just arbitrarily shorter ring finger, index finger and little finger. And then we will draw rectangles around them so that we get some spatial division. And for the thumb, we don't have a thumb like that, right? Because we have a bone that comes from the bottom. So our thumb is like this, but this is important as a connector, and from here we can show another part that goes above that.
Can you kind of restart because I messed up a lot.
Shivansh, 1 minute, let me finish this and then I will show you again. Okay.
Okay.
All right, so we have to go back up in this manner and then create almost like a triangular shape first, of which then we can give it some shape and come only to where the index finger ends. Okay, so Shivansh, could you share a picture on the group so I can see where you have messed up, and then I can help you out with your picture itself. Now the easiest way to flesh this out is to just take the line of the thumb from the side, make it slightly tapering towards the outer end, And you'll notice that we don't really have a circular outer part of the hand, right? So from the outer edge of the little finger, you bring a line that is almost parallel to this part of the hand. And then extend this down to get your wrist. Have you sent your picture, Shivansh? Okay, I'm going to show you one more time. Look at this. Shivansh, pay attention. So what I'm going to suggest is when I'm drawing something, observe everything first. Don't draw with me. Just observe. And then I'll give you some time to draw, or you can just check with me and say, can I draw now? And then I can say yes, or I can say, wait, I want to show you something more. And then you can draw. That way you're not looking down at your work while I raced ahead, drawn something, and then you feel, oh my God, what happened? Okay, is that okay, Shivansh? All right. So here goes again. So I made a circle first. I want you to just observe, and you will remember. You will remember, don't worry. I made a circle, cut it in half. Oh, sorry. And then cut it in half vertically as well. Did you get this part? All right. Wait, look. Then from the bottom, I extended a line that goes almost like it's going towards 11 o'clock. If this is the center of a clock face, this is 12, this is 11, this is 10, and this is 9, right? This is the center. From here, then I'll draw another line going towards 1 o'clock or even closer, less than 1. And then another one going to maybe 2 o'clock. This is how I got my fingers. Did you get this part? Alright, do you want to draw this now? Okay, now
So,
yeah.
it's the part where I made the cylinders and thumb was a bit too far from the index, which made it look a bit weird.
All right, so you can make your adjustments. Just make your adjustments, but give me some time to finish the explanation and raise your hand, okay, instead of speaking, because I'm in the middle of something and then everyone else gets interrupted. So it'll help if you raise your hand. Just wait a minute and then I'll get to you. Is that okay? Great, super. All right, so now that we've drawn this, I want you to try to draw the other hand. This, in all probability, will be the hand that you are drawing with. So you won't be able to see that, but you can use the first hand as the reference. We're going to go over it all over again. So we have a circle. We'll draw a line horizontally and vertically, cutting the circle in half. And then just reverse all of these lines. So you will have your pointer towards the right, ring towards the left, little finger next to the ring finger. And then we have this triangle space like this. This is the height of the middle finger. Now I haven't joined these at the bottom. I haven't joined the fingers at the bottom for a reason. So I want you to leave a gap between the fingers. And then from the outside of the hand, we just make it slightly straightish. So I want to show you how, while this is literally in front of our face, why is it that we make so many mistakes when drawing hands? We see our hands every day. We do stuff with our hands. Yet when we have to draw them, why does it not turn out naturally the way it should? So the reason for this is because our hands are like an kind of an aberration. If you keep your fingers closed, they are almost like a two-dimensional object, right? So yet they're fluid, so they can twist, they can turn, and yet each of the digits has a dimension. There is something that shows that it is rounded. So how do we do that? Plus, keeping them apart makes them very stringy, so they weave into each other. So it's like lots of things that are happening with just these items. So now in our hand, if we want to start bringing life into them, the first thing we can do is observe these connectors. So when you're looking at your fingers, you see that the palm, the line of the palm, goes over the fingers. So we will draw a line horizontally between the joints, and the joint of the fingers are apart. So they are not like this. This is what makes it look mechanical. We have to build in folds. All our joints are folds of skin going one over the other. This instantly will make it look a little more three-dimensional. And now if we were to do it the other way around, so if we pull these lines down, this is the line of the finger, and then between them if we make the folds of the skin, what does this look like? When we change where we are drawing the line, this hand becomes this hand. Although when you were drawing it, you were drawing your right palm. But just by changing this little thing, this little web between your fingers, you have just turned your left arm into your left arm, seeing from the other side. Isn't that just magical? It's like mind blowing, even to me, even now.
Yes, all I had to do was to turn my right hand around
Correct.
while I was drawing it, instead of imagining the right hand on the other side, left
And
hand.
now it will look like that as well. But if you want to make this your right hand, then you just have to make the folds, the web seam like it's above the joints. And then that will make it look like the left hand.
Like my right hand, yes. I mean, the other one.
The other one. Yeah,
Yes.
the other one. Okay. So now this is one way. This is the folds or the webbing. The next thing is also to flesh these fingers out as if they were sausages. So we draw the same circle. Now you should be familiar with how to break this up. Decide on whichever side hand you want to draw. And this time round, we will draw these as sausages, but just 2 on each, not 3. You don't really need that third one. So just 2 are enough. And here is a triangular shaped piece at the end. Now once you get this, it's easier to start fleshing them as a hand rather than just a mechanical object. So when you have anything rounded, how do we shade it? We have to shade this in like oval shapes. And when you are shading the hand, if you can visualize this on blank paper, this will really help when we are making those gestures. So they're not flat objects like that which are folded onto each other. They are rounded, they have volume, they have thickness. So what are the simple gestures we can make with a hand which you don't really need a reference for, which you can manipulate your lines and make? So let's say we have the Vulcan hello. Does everyone know that? Where the middle finger and the ring finger are close to each other, and the index finger and the little finger go apart, and so does the thumb. So just below the circle, a small amount, I am making the end of the palm over here. Okay, so my circle finishes somewhere here, but there's a little bit I am making. If you're going to make your hand from the circle down, it will look like a child's hand. Just extend the, what is this called? I think it's called the heel of the palm, a little lower than what you imagine the circle of the palm to be. Alright, now let's try making some hands from the reference images. Let me just demonstrate a couple to you, and then you can make after me. So this is the picture that I'm going to make. And in this now we are adding dimension. No longer is our hand going to be flat. We are turning on its side but not entirely sideways. It's not two-dimensionally on the side. It's like at a 3/4 angle. So it's like seeing a flat paper which used to be a rectangle or a square turn into a rectangle as you flip it around. So in this, the easiest thing to do is not to see the fingers. While you are identifying the fingers, you will lose clarity. What I see at the beginning is just these shapes. So I have a V shape. And then I have a line that comes from the center. And then I have 3 other lines there. That's it. This is actually my hand. Now, how will I make it if I were just to draw it in brief? I will make a fold here, a fold here, and that's it. So you should practice also making a hand with the least amount of strokes. And then of course you can make it as realistic also as you want. The advantage of making just the silhouette of the hand is that you will see the proportions for the sake of the proportions, not because in your mind you feel the fingers are too short or the palm is too short or too long or whatever. Okay, so I'm sharing this with you, but I'll also show you how I would go about doing it. And I'll make both versions. I'll make the simplified version also and the more complex version as well. Right, so the first thing to do is just mark that shape. So you have a V shape. Now it's not any V shape. Look at the angle made by the thumb. So how do you know what that angle is? Take your finger against the picture, keep your pencil on the horizontal and see what angle it makes, and look for that angle right here. Is it the same? Then you have the wrist and you have the little finger. almost going straight but then turning outward a little bit. Somewhere below the thumb, the tip of the thumb is the joint towards the left, from where you can draw a line that goes straight, and then based on that straight line you can bend the finger and you'll see that you can make a shape like this. It's like a bent triangle. It's bent from one side, still a triangle on the other, and then one finger over here and the thumb over here. Maybe even more. Now it's important for you to make all these lines. Don't erase your lines, because only when you have made one of these you will know whether or not it's accurate. If you erase it, you will never know which side you had to expand or contract that particular shape. Now once this is made, you can start shading. Start blocking the space you see that is dark. So there is a little dark patch by this fold of skin. So I'll make that. Once I occupy that space, I get a better idea of where I can move the next part. Don't pay attention to any of this now. Just look at the next line in front of you. Now, although I have drawn the rough line straight, this first flange of my finger is actually leaning a little to the left. And then the next one is again leaning left, but it's smaller, shorter. And the next one even further. So only when I have made this part will I know whether the rest of the finger is looking good. Now when it comes to nails, it is again very painful. So the nail is drawn like that. Let me show you in close up. If this is your finger, your nail will pop out somewhere from here. Just draw a little extension for the nail. Bring it straight down, a little depression, and then outward. That's all. If you start making a nail here, there is a chance that you might make it a little too dark or too flat or something like that, and it starts looking very Ravan-like, unfortunately. This would be the detail. So I'm only going to make that little bump, and then you'll notice that our bone comes up here, so the finger goes inward. And then we have an exposed knuckle. And pay attention to where the finger finishes. It finishes much higher than you think. I can bet that many of you want to come all the way down here. It's not that low. And then just using straight lines, you can shade one side of the finger. Now this shading is important. This is what will make the finger look like it is three-dimensional. Are you getting it? Okay, now take a breath after you finished one finger. Now in your minds, your second finger is starting here. In the photograph, the second finger is starting here. Right? So what you often will end up doing is make a finger that looks like this, and then you'll say, why is my hand not looking like the reference image? Because it is the mind that has drawn it. So the next finger again, second flange, third, nails are done the same way, And if you can see that line of the knuckle, clearly draw it. Otherwise, you can just start the third finger from where it emerges in the photograph. Bring the knuckle down, and you'll see the position of the knuckles. The index finger knuckle is here. The middle finger knuckle is just slightly to the right, but the ring finger knuckle is much lower, and it's also turned a little sideways. From there, the line comes straight down, and here it goes into the bone of. Would these also be knuckles? I'm unsure now. Now, when we are making the little finger beyond this, first make the web of the joint, and from behind the web, you will make those fleshy parts of the finger. First joint, second joint, third joint. Now you'll notice how these joints also are not in a straight line. You have 1, 2, 3, and 4. That is because we have that circle. And then you can bring the wrist downward. And from here you can check whether the base of your thumb is in the right place. And now even for the wrist, remember that it's not a very sharp edge. You will have a fold of the skin coming forward, and then from a little behind on the skin itself, you will have the hand emerging. So once your shape is ready, you will only know if you've done a good job of replicating this if you shade. And the shading we are doing can just be straight lines. Just make a series of straight lines, not even curved. Okay, Shivansh, how are you doing?
Yes, ma'am.
How are you doing? Were you able to make this? I know I moved very fast. This could be a little advanced. Were you able to make this hand?
But you said you let me know when I should start.
Okay, I'm sorry. For the next one, I will ask you to draw with me. Would you like to
Okay.
start this one? Were you observing this entire time?
Yeah.
Very good. That's excellent. Would you like to try it now?
Drawing this. Which one are you asking for?
This one, this one. Would you like to try start drawing this? And I will be drawing another hand in 2-3 minutes. You can wait and finish this later and join me making the other one later, before that. Am I making sense to you, Shiva?
Oh,
Because I'm confusing myself in this now.
huh?
For 2 minutes, make this hand.
Okay.
Okay, good, great. Okay, now if we want to give more dimension to the hand, you can make two lines of shading. One was the straight lines, and these are now contour lines. So the contour changes according to the, I guess, roundness of any object. And very often in the human body, you wonder whether your contour is straight or whether it's rounded. But whenever you see anything cylindrical, it helps to just make rounded lines like this. And also you can see how that rounded shape is bending. And whenever you have this question about whether or not you should make the veins on the hand, unless the veins are what you're talking about, don't bother making the veins. They do not look really nice. But do put some shadows around these knuckles and some lines to indicate the folds, the joints on the fingers.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes,
I have a doubt.
yes. Go on, ask me.
So like I couldn't understand like how do we start with the basic shape and then we continue to the gesture of the
Oh,
hand.
okay, let me make the next one. So there we can begin. First, I'll show you on the photograph itself how I will see the shapes. I'll just make some stick figure like shapes, and then I will start building on that. And this time you can draw with me. So you can look up, see what I'm doing, repeat the same. Okay, now that you've seen that one hand, you should be able to do this along with me. Let's check. All right, so now let's see if we can make this image. The image of a hand holding an object. So in this case, what are the basic shapes you can see in the hand? First and foremost, the hand itself, you can see is a straight line, almost like a diamond shape in itself, right? It's like a tilted diamond shape. Then, in that diamond shape, if we draw a line like this, not exactly diagonally from one end to the other, but slightly differently, you can accommodate all the fingers on one side and the thumb and the base of the thumb on one side. So, this gives you a good starting point. Then you can make lines like these for the fingers, like the top flange of the index finger is parallel to the middle flange of the middle finger, where the angles slowly start changing, and you have to just keep an eye and placement of these angles. That's it. So once you draw this, you will be able to make the rest of the fingers as well. I'm going to draw it like this and then you can follow me. So here we go. Our diamond shape is not exactly like this. It's tilted a little to the right. So Shivansh, you'll follow me. I'm making the diamond shape a little tilted. So the center line is not straight, the center line is slightly angular. Then from the base of the triangle, I'm actually drawing a line straight up. Wherever it cuts the top line is fine for me. Now here I'm going to divide this into 1, 2, 3 and 4 parts. So somewhere in the middle is the middle finger. A little below half of that is the index finger. It's not exactly at half. Between these two is the index finger, and then below that somewhere over here is the little finger. These are the knuckles. This is how the hand folds. So we have 1, 2, 3 and 4. So I'm drawing the pointer finger, the first flange of the pointer finger downwards. Just draw these lines, then the middle finger coming downwards, ring finger and the little finger. And because our hands fold like that, where the flange of the first finger aligns better with the middle flanges of the other fingers, this is how it's going to look. The other 3 fingers are going to fold inward, and these lines are going to be, they can be parallel also. So these are just the edges. Now what do? You can just round the edge upward and inward. But each of them is joined to each other with a folded line or an overlapping line. Then you have a tiny little finger on this side. And then where the thumb comes, the middle finger comes down, you have the base of the thumb that goes round and out, flat on top, and comes straight down here. Okay, is everyone getting this? Right at this stage, it is looking quite basic because we don't have any roundness. We don't have any sense of dimension here. But this has given us a position of the different fingers. Now let's make I think the thumb can be a little smaller, and of course it's flat. And the top of the diamond shape actually is this part of the hand. That is the finger that comes all the way round, turns around like that, and folds inward. And how is the nail here? The nail is very funny because it's foreshortened, it's rounded. Like this. So just making nails itself is also an excellent study. Then you have from that finger coming down, you have the flesh of the middle finger. And here now again, the nail part generally seems to be protruding outward, and the ends are always rounded, and the nail itself can be pretty flat. So here the knuckle is not straight, so don't end your finger here, it's slightly rounded again. Flesh that out and give it some depth. So now if I were to shade it like this will start looking like a finger. You get it? Are you getting it? So at every point, just check how far your finger has to go. My ring finger has to go even further, I realize. Round line there, And remember to underlap the finger. This part of the middle finger comes over the ring finger. So let that happen. Knuckles are usually flat, little bit of flesh on top and down. Now there are some folds of the skin on the hand, and please draw the handle of the hammer. Because you want to show something being gripped. Even on the thumb, you'll notice that there's a little bit of flesh coming from the other side of the thumb. And each of these folds comes from behind the earlier line. Behind it. And here definitely draw the creases on the inside of the wrist. These creases are really important. If you don't have the creases, the hand looks rather unnatural. Okay, I'm going to make some adjustments now. As it turns out, I have an extra bit of flesh on the top and some more knuckle-like things happening on the hand. Now I like it. That little bit of thing has given my hand so much more power, I feel. Now once this is done, you can take an eraser and clean out the lines, and you will then see how well your hand has been constructed. So all these straight lines tend to get in the way of the roundness of the hand. So of course, while at the start I don't want you to use erasers only so that you can use the incorrect lines to draw the correct lines, but whenever you feel that the straight lines are interfering with your view, then of course please go ahead and erase them so that that does not happen. So the few things that you should notice is whenever a hand is clasping something or holding something, you will see that part of the flesh is pressed down versus not being pressed down. I don't know if you can see that, if you can notice it. So me pressing my finger like that and it becoming flat at the bottom versus it not becoming flat and staying afloat like that. So if I want to show something flat or some kind of power, my muscles are going to bulge around the nail, or my hands are going to look very flat like that, or there's going to be a tight grip. There's something that happens over here, a sharper shadow, that changes the emotion of the hand. So it's really important that when you're drawing your hands, your lines should be fluid, they should flow. Okay, how's everyone doing with the hands? Okay, let's see, Saeed.
Not very well, I'm afraid.
Okay, let's identify. Okay, so good. Saeed, in your case, can you see how the hand that is holding the hammer is so delicately holding the hand hammer?
Yes.
You know why? Because
Holding up something.
yeah, it's like one of those jeweler's
Yes.
hammers.
Yes.
So also you've turned it around. I don't know how you managed that. It's talking towards his side.
Yeah.
So that also makes it look different. Now I'll tell you where. If you can just share the picture on the group,
I
I'll
will.
just like try to break that down for you. Shreya, let's see yours. Oh, very nice. You so see your fingers have come really good, but the this bump has gone much lower than it should. Can you see that? If you make it a little higher and reduce the size of your thumb just a little bit, everything will fit in. But very nice. It's looking great. Let's see Elaine's. No, you're on the right track, Elaine. You just need to spread that out a little bit. Your hand looks like it's more foreshortened than it actually is, which means that your lines are more upright
Okay.
than they should be. So your angle, instead of being like this for the fingers, has become like that, and that's what makes the fingers look like that instead of like this. That's it. So it's just a more foreshortened finger, hand.
Yeah, the one that's the hand like this is looking like one of those that come out of the grave in cartoons.
Yeah.
Really goth.
It is. Okay, now one quick one. Let's just do a quick hand. This, whichever one, choose any one that you want to do very quickly. And this one, I want you to scribble through. So I'm drawing the one that is holding the brush. So in scribbling, you want to draw the shapes as they how can I say this? Okay, if we're going to draw a continuous line, imagine a continuous line trying to trace the finger. So you don't move your eye from the subject and don't lift the pencil off the page. And whatever you have to do, you have to just make lines back and forth and try to create that shape. Not so much the detail as much as just the shape. So like the top of my thumb is a little wider. I'm focusing on that. And then there's a little bend over here, focusing on that. And then the rest of the fingers are just one big muddle of lines. So what I want you to do is try this shade, not what we had done before. That is fine. You can always make that. But the true practice comes with this. Another 10-minute exercise you can do. And absolutely no erasing for this. You can make vague shadows, but not anything specific. The hand that's pointing towards us, for example. That is really a little scarier. The hand pointing to us, because here you again you see it foreshortened, so you're basically just seeing the tip of the finger. Okay, Shivansh, are you making these?
Your fingers?
Yeah, just quick fingers, whichever, choose the ones that you like from the reference images. Do you have those reference images in front of you?
Yeah, those, right?
Yeah, the ones that I've shared on the group.
No, not right now. My mom has the phone.
Okay, okay. So I'm going to do one thing. I'm going to share this with you on the group so you can see both screens, my screen also, and the screen in which I have uh, the reference image also. What are you seeing now? Sorry, not this. Share this in this format. Okay, right. Are you able to see both now?
Yep.
Great. Now, do you want to try shading that, sketching that? So we don't want to make it too refined, just a few lines here and there to make it look like what it is looking.
Aditi, just tell me what's wrong with this because this is the one I chose, but I don't know whether. Can you see
Yes, nothing wrong with that.
what's wrong with the forefinger?
You have a very dark line on top. That is all that is wrong, I think.
I corrected it. Yeah, I actually it was shorter, and then I wanted to make it longer, and
That
so I kind of went over it again.
Yeah, you can erase a little if you want to, or just shade the whole thing dark.
Yeah, yeah. I've always wanted to draw this Uncle Sam wala.
Yeah, and it's
You know,
it's
once
disowning how
you.
much, yeah, how badly it comes. All right. Another 5 minutes, and then I'll just wait for Shivansh to finish, and then we will move to the feet.
But you can continue. I'm just completing the last part.
All right, great. Thank you. Okay, stop sharing now. Right. So since this is now all hands, I'm just going to turn my page to the back and use the back of this for feet. Now, feet are another problem area. Feet can also be flat, yet they have these digits. Digits can do all sorts of weird things. So they can press down and then make your flat foot look flat and flapping and bending and folding. So the various ways in which we can address feet. First is make a wedge shape. So you have a triangle like this. I have deliberately made the lines slightly crooked. They're not flat because I want to show it in 3 dimension. And then we will draw another rectangle on top, but it's slightly shorter towards the top, slightly wider towards the bottom. Basically, our foot is like a wedge, and you can try different kinds of wedges. You can make a slimmer wedge like that, or a taller wedge like that, and this is how our feet look. Now, if we detach the front and make the front like another shape itself, if you can visualize this same part of the triangle on the side and make it 3D by adding something like this. So wherever we tilt our heel, that's the flat part of our foot, like that. On the other side, there will be a rectangle for the top. That is how our foot looks. And in this, we can then create room for a stump that becomes the leg, and the base becomes the heel, the ball of the foot, and most importantly, the arch. This is important because without the arch, the foot looks flat and only two-dimensional. You don't have to draw more than just a bumpy line like that for the toes, and join this to the leg. Now over here we have to draw an ankle and then draw the leg. Without the ankle, again, it starts looking weird. So here are the important things. You have ankle, heel, arch, and toes. And by ankle, I mean ankle bone. And one more thing I'm just going to add is the ball of the foot. If any of you have done any dancing, ballroom dancing, this is the part on which they would ask you to turn.
So when you say, when we did the figure last week and we had the center of gravity, from the top of the head or the chin,
Yes.
so that comes down to the ball of the foot, right?
Not necessarily. Depends on how you
Not
are
necessarily.
standing. So if you are standing with your whole foot down, it doesn't really matter
Down.
exactly what point it comes to, because When we
Okay.
draw these postures, we'll often make them very tiny. So the vague area of the
Hmm.
foot is good enough. And often the
Oh,
heel belongs,
because yeah, this one that you're standing on your toe,
yeah,
then very much.
yeah. Then
Yeah.
it'll come down to the toe, or if you're standing flat-footed, then it'll come straight
Yeah.
down the ankle.
Oh,
Yeah, but that's a
sorry, you
very
were saying
tiny.
something.
Okay, so let me try drawing this one. Like I've drawn this, there's a reference image. I will show you this. So how do I translate this into all those triangles and rectangles that I see? This is the triangle that I see. And the rectangle part is foreshortened because the foot is on its side. And then you have this part that becomes toes. Sorry. Yeah. So how did we make this? We made an ankle, and then we have the foot going into the heel, heel coming into the arch. And I will make a fold here, though it is not visible in the photograph. Photographs can get away with all sorts of stuff. We have to do these additional lines. A fold for the toes, one bump here, and then no bump. Then the top of the foot, I could even go this far and then turn up. Can you see it? So you have ankle, ankle, heel, arch, ball of the foot, and toes.
I think the part that would confuse me every time with this would be the top of this wedge. You know?
This part,
Yeah, the top of that. You know, the line that you took as foreshortened.
yeah,
I
this part.
can't see it. Yeah.
You don't have to. You don't have to. So even if this is just vaguely available, you can see this, right? You can
Yes,
see this
that
edge
bottom of that
and
wedge
you
I
see
can
this
see.
edge. That is
It's
perfect.
this
You can,
top line.
yeah, you can trace it right till here. You can trace that right
Ah,
till here. And that's all you need. Then you've got the ankle, so you've got the width of your foot, and then you just have
hmm,
to draw the leg. So what is going to
right.
happen over here? Even if you don't see it, what is going to happen?
Yeah.
All you have to do is join it over here. It doesn't matter whether this line is flat, like this, it does not matter. So these
Yes.
little
If
parts that
I'm
you feel confused, just keep it blank, and you will realize
okay,
that that blank was not necessary.
okay, okay.
Okay, so I'll
It's
share.
just that when you did the first drawing with no reference image, you know, it made a lot of sense. With the reference image, yes. But
Yeah,
if I didn't have a reference image, that top of the wedge is so important.
not really. Top of the wedge, Nate,
No,
and not just the side and the fingers.
I'm
Let's
sorry. I'm talking about that flat top on top, the rectangle, not the wedge. I'm so sorry. The
no.
top,
So
the rectangle on top.
this
That's the
one,
one.
this part.
Yeah,
You
that's the one.
yeah. So ignore this bit. You will see this. You will see this.
Okay, okay.
So this comes from the top of your foot to, like if this is the foot, if I were to
Yeah.
paraphrase with fingers, this edge that you see on the top of your toe,
Yes.
that becomes one side, and the same thing on the other from the little toe
Yeah.
becomes the other, not the base, just the edge on top. So if you can imagine
Edge.
the flatness, which we have rounded
Yeah.
off, if you can imagine this as one end and this is one end, from here till about here, not here till here. This is your flat.
Right.
All right. Now the other thing that our feet do is turn around. So we are showing somebody walking away from us. There are no toes. There is hardly any heel, it's all just one line next to or one bump, then another bump, and another bump, higher and higher and higher. This could look like, I don't know, a tuber also. It's all very vague. So here the important bits are these folds. So you have one fold over here, which is the fold of the heel, the arch again, the ankle. Look at how the ankles are at different points. The inner ankle is higher, the outer ankle is lower. When have we noticed this? And then you have these curved lines to indicate the bone. This is also very important. Without this, your foot looks again very flat. The rest of it is just a puddle of lines. You just have this line, of course you follow this here, bump, 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 and come back. Remember to overlap, and then you draw the foot. Now this, it very rarely will you have it, but when you do have it, the last thing you want to do is draw a foot like that, because it just looks like that person is an amputee, right? So let's try making this leg also. It's fairly simple, you should be able to do it. Sorry. Start with making some basic shapes, like if this is the heel, and you draw a couple of lines to give you an idea of where the ankle comes up to, because I've not given you any dimensions here. From the heel itself, you will see that on the left there is more pressure, so it's bending. As you come up, you get one side of that bone. I think this would be the Achilles part of the heel, because this is where an arrow could really go through. Then you have the other part of the same bone which comes down, and the heel is not that pressured on the right hand side. From here you will get a fold upwards, and then a horizontal bump, and then a slight bump to the side. Now just keep an eye on how far you are going. You don't want to go too far also. And on the left, it just goes up a little bit. Then you have the top of the foot part, which is then absorbed by the ankle. And then diagonally to the right is the other ankle, much higher, top part of the foot, and comes down, joins the toe, even rounded actually. And this can become even more believable if we shade. Okay, now shall we try putting these feet in shoes? I am anticipating that the feet are going to give you some trouble. The feet are a very difficult topic and ignored topic also. So don't expect to be immediately good at it. But whatever you are doing, the only things that you probably need correction on is, as usual, the length of the lines, whichever lines you're drawing, the distance between the lines that you're making. Because in our heads, we see even a short distance over here as the distance of a foot. How can this line be so short and cover the distance of a foot? So you land up making a line that's so big, and then your foot can land up looking like a duck's foot just because you've made it like a flipper. Angles, check if your angles are right. And then, of course, separately is shading. How efficient is your shading? Shading can really make something like this resemble somewhat like a, or it just looks like a bone. Alright, now let's try putting a shoe on the foot. I have shared a few pictures. It was so difficult to get pictures of feet wearing shoes because I think Pinterest thought that I was probably one of those guys who has a fetish. So it just refused to show me pictures of feet in shoes. So just wearing shoes was fine. So if you are going to look for more shoes, change your search. Don't ask for feet, just ask for wearing shoes. Okay, now this one. When you are drawing a foot like this, you can see one foot which looks flat and the other foot at an angle. How will you draw this? One part is identify things like your ankle. You don't have an arch over here, so don't bother. But look at these things. This is almost a straight line. Keep it a straight line. Don't get tempted to draw fingers like that. Here again, it's a straight line. And then you have an elegant turn of the foot. That's all. In the back, you can see the side of the foot clearly. So you can see this wedge shape. And then you can see part of the other side. You don't even need to see the rest. So you don't have to bother imagining where that rectangle is. But this wedge will give you enough information for you to find your shapes. Most importantly, knowing where to draw simple shapes will give you the right proportion before you have to refine the shapes. That is where these simple shapes come in handy. Okay, so let's try making those legs in flip-flops. I'm sharing this picture with you as well. So first and foremost, let's make the leg which is in the front. So I'm making part of a leg also so that I can get the ankle which is here. And then I'm assuming that some of her leg is coming from the back. So the side of her foot doesn't start from the ankle but a little distance away. And this measurement I have made visually, but I'm sure if you make the ankle the unit, you turn it on its side and measure it, you will get some way of measuring exactly how far her toes go. To me right now it looks like they are 1, to about 2.25. So this is 2.25. So somewhere here. One foot done. For the other foot, the wedge starts somewhere here. Okay, let's make this leg. The wedge starts somewhere above her ankle of the foot in front, and it's almost a horizontal line like that, coming down to the toes. Mind you, the heel and the ball of the foot will come beyond this point. And this is the foot. Here are her fingers or the toes. And then the leg is somewhere like this. Okay, now before you start refining, just keep an eye on her toes. Where is one toe? Her left toe is over here, fingers are here. And how much lower is her right toe? So maybe this was the better line to go by. Because if these toes come one next to the other, she will look like she's sitting in a very odd position. One leg will look longer than the other. So this stage, identify what part of this sketch is going to become the foot or the ankle or whatever. And only after you've assured yourself should you start making the rest of the shapes. Now, as it turns out, I think I have made this foot really long. So I'm going to make this shorter. So automatically her toes are going to come up. That means this toe is not. Okay, now here's a trick to draw toes. Draw the big toe, and the remaining just draw a straight line as if they're wearing some socks that are hiding everything. You don't need more than this. Now, of course, the flip-flops are important, not just the toes. So, please see how the flip-flops are sitting, because a lot of the dimensions of the foot can also be communicated by how the footwear molds around it. So when you're making the back of the chappal, don't make it flat around here, or don't let it extend from the heel. Let it go outward, because the foot has to sit comfortably in that. And also turn the footwear around in the right place so that it doesn't go all the way around the foot. It's not a foot mask. Now notice these things also. When you are wearing flip-flops, your toe comes inward a little bit to grab onto the flip-flop. the toes or the toenails are concave. In this case, this girl's um, toes have a very nice, this is apparently called a Roman shape when your second toe is a little taller than your index, not what am I saying, not index, your big toe. This was apparently a sign of beauty in ancient Roman times. And I think only a tenth of the world's population has this. So right now it looks like she's wearing socks. And also her foot is looking really stubby. But I can make adjustments and change that. Now if I want to add the other toes, notice how the line of the toes is not one single line. It's like a broken line. So that all the shapes the toes are accommodated for, all their knuckles and nails and everything. And on her left leg, they are all overlapping or underlapping because they're seen foreshortened. So this looks rather ugly. Shadify. Even in this case, without shading, the whole foot will look very artificial, made of paper. And of course, when shading, remember to shade everything. Like when you're shading a person wearing clothes, you will shade the clothes as well. Shreya has to leave. Okay, so that's our hands and feet. And as always, this is going to take some time. And the time taken is going to be in just seeing what you see for what you see it. You know what I mean? We are thinking or we are perceiving something and we are drawing what we are perceiving. So that gap needs to shorten. The best thing to do is to draw these hands, but also practice shading. You have to do a lot of shading for this.
Yeah, have this is my heel and my foot.
Yeah, let's see. Okay, what do you think, Elaine?
Yeah, well, it's trial and error. The heel is a little better. The one foot, actually, I've got the angle. It's just the shading, as you said, which needs to be done much more lightly.
Yeah. One second. I was just about to say, other than the shading bit, what you need to also do
Yeah,
is look for these cartoons. Look for animations, not maybe animations as much, but look for pictures by Mario Miranda because he does hands really well. Then look for these Archie comics. They do a lot with hands as well. They've got very nice hands. And then wherever you can find anthropomorphic shapes, like even a Mickey and Donald, their hands are in gloves, but they still have lots of finger gestures. So you can try making those because those are simplified. The lines are easier and they accommodate all that three dimension with just one swish of a brush stroke for a fold, and instantly that hand looks like it's grabbing something or it's waving or it's holding or whatever. All right. Okay. So one second. I'm just going to stop recording and then I will check everyone's work.